Okay, welcome back everyone. So I'm still continuing with Sagittarians, how to recognize Sagittarians. Please do subscribe and share. Now, very few people can resent the archer for very long because he's so transparently free of harmful intent. You'll see this lovable, likable, intelligent idealist almost anywhere or anytime. You may catch him shooting out his careless arrows from your television screen some Sunday night, leaving his guest stars numb and speechless with astonishment at his frankness. He may be your cab driver some Monday morning, the one who cheerfully explains to you why he hates stingy tippers. Or you could find him serving you in a restaurant some Friday evening, earnestly advising you not to order the oysters because they are a little on the tired side. Most Sagittarians sincerely try to cheer you up. At least that's what they start out to do. But sometimes it falls a little short of the good intention. I once had a Sagittarius manager who tried to boost my morale by telling me how much better my hair looked than it usually did when I hadn't washed it or rolled it up for more than a week. But he's still a good friend, so you can see he's useless to get exasperated. Besides, now and then Sagittarians can come up with a delay of a statement that sends your spirits really soaring and makes up for all the rest. They can offer profoundly wise counsel when you've had time to analyze their viewpoints. This is a fire sign, so most archers are extroverts, talkative, and forward. There are a few who are painfully shy and timid, but even these are full of original ideas and they are just as blunt. In fact, the quiet Sagittarians with the reclusive, meek ways can dream the biggest dreams and aim for the highest goals. Introvert or extrovert, the archer is a promoter at heart. The rare one who doesn't say much could be planning something really spectacular to bring on or to spring on an unsuspecting world. His mind is busy when his tongue is still. So you have to remember his sunshine is always there at the bottom of his nature. Most of the time, the typical Sagittarian is happy and gregarious, but his temper can flare like a skyrocket if he's pushed around by people who abuse his natural friendliness or who gets too familiar. Rebellion against authority and stuffy society is also common. Sagittarius will never run away from a fight or call for help. The women can lose their normally pleasant dispositions and let go with a barrage of unexpected plain talk that puts troublemakers right where they belong. The men will use their fists and scorn weapons. A rude, insulting person who has challenged Jupiter's good nature often find himself sprawled on the sidewalk, wondering where the truck come from. High spirited Jupiter people can stand to be accused of dishonesty. An unjust accusation or a slur against their integrity will make righteous indignation flame high. But after an especially fiery display of temper, the typical Sagittarian will feel remorse and try to make amends. He'll black your eye and put you in the hospital, but he'll probably shower you with flowers and sympathy the next day. The archer usually speaks and acts first and considers the consequences later. Many Sagittarians seek the stage, and no one is happier giving encore after encore for an excited audience. He'll sing himself hoarse or dance his shoes off for the sheer exhilaration of performing. Show business is full of archers. There's a strong religious streak in Jupiter men and women, especially in their youth. They are intensely interested in church affairs, but as they grow older, they can become skeptical or dogma, inclined to question former faiths and search for a perfection of values. It's a rare Sagittarian who doesn't have a matched set of luggage. They love to travel, and there's usually at least one suitcase, well worn from hundreds of trips, that's kept packed and ready for the instant use. You'll always notice something childlike about the typical naive, brave, optimistic Sagittarian. He refuses to accept the seriousness of life, though some of them manage responsibility with admirable conscientiousness in later years. Still, they are never truly happy when they're burdened by it. Jupiter natures rebel against confinement, and too much of it can bring on serious illness. If the Sagittarian can survive that and the wear and tear of scattering his energies, he'll live up to be as old as Methuselah. Most archers retain their faculties, razor sharp and refined by age to the end. His sensitive areas are the hips, lungs, livers, arms, hands, shoulders, intestines, and feet. The Sagittarian love of sports and the outdoors may bring accidents through reckless overactivity. Hospitals can rarely keep him bedded down more than a few days. He gives in to sickness reluctantly and usually recuperates with amazing swiftness. Life seldom defeats these people permanently. They believe that tomorrow will surely be better than yesterday, and today is pretty interesting. Every Sagittarian is something of a gambler, unless there's a cautious, conservative influence in the natal chart. Very few of them can resist throwing a couple of bills on the green felt. The sound of dice rattling in the dealer's hand attracts some Jupiter men and women like the siren song of Sergei. With adverse aspects between the planets at birth, an archer can gamble away a fortune or throw the rent money on the nose of a favorite horse. Las Vegas attracts Sagittarians like sugar attracts flies. So do the more staid gambles of the stock market and the real estate. Fortunately, the majority of them keep the urge to speculate under control. But even these will risk a few dollars now and on a fast poker game or a lottery ticket. Both the timid and the forceful ones will take a chance on love anytime. Sagittarians plunge into romance with reckless abandon, but they often stop short suddenly when marriage is mentioned. They think it over, then go ahead and make a mistake after careful consideration. Although the archer is warm and wonderful in love relationships, he's a little tricky to catch. Symbolically, he's half horse, half man, which obviously gives him a head start in any game of chase if he doesn't stumble over his own feet. Among the most unpleasant traits of some Sagittarians are a tendency to violent temper, a love of too much food and drink, which can lead to obesity or alcoholism, mental brilliance stained by burning sarcasm, or extreme eccentricity and the inability to keep a secret. But none of these need be permanent flaws. They can be easily rooted out with Sagittarian determination. The average Jupiter man will loan you money without ever making you ashamed to ask or even obligated to repay it. The Jupiter housewife will adopt the homeless orphan or the lost animal and always make room for one more at her table. Sagittarians have a tendency to go off on tangents. The archer will take on a great cause with blind devotion and believe that the possibilities outweigh the shortcomings, an attitude that results from his brilliant imagination and progressive thinking. He never fails to present his case with cool, reasonable arguments, sometimes cutting the opposition to ribbons with sharp satire, and yet remaining aloof from the fray somehow. The fire is always ready to leap forth. However, when anyone unfairly attacks his miracle or his cause of the moment, he's a formidable foe because he aims straight when he takes the time to focus on the victim. His arrows then rarely miss their mark. They are dipped in clever wit and sharp enough to pierce the strongest armor. Although a few December people are genuinely funny, it's a curious fact that when most of them tell a joke, the timing is slightly off and they fluff the punchline. The audience at home or in the theater will roar at the obvious awkwardness, and the jovial Jupiter soul will think everyone is laughing at his great sense of comedy timing. It can be hilarious. So, to the Sagittarians, life is secretly a circus, and he's the clown, rolling and rumbling through purple hoops in a sky blue suit. His face is smeared with the bright, gay colors of grease paint, and his eyes glitter with curiosity and fun. As the music of the gallopy gets louder, he stumbles and falls, then executes a perfect somersault on the back of a prancing pony. When he aims straight, he shoots higher than man can see, past the stars to the place where all dreams are really born. Thank you so much for listening, and do subscribe and share.